Hey, this is Julia Rebecca Myron, aka The Messy Meditator, and this is the Messy Meditator podcast, where I'll be getting into the topics of mindfulness, messiness, and life. So let's get into it. In this episode, I sat down with Ceasar Barajas, who I discovered on social media a few years back. I don't even know how. I'm sure it had to do with meditation. And I just instantly felt like that's one of my people. And I was just so struck by how he seemed to have such a huge heart and so much passion for the things that he cares about. And a very interesting background, too. Ceasar is an international wellness mentor, mental health advocate, activist, chocolate chip cookie aficionado, and a prideful supporter of the LGBTQIA2S+ communities. He is a first-generation American, the son of Mexican immigrants, a 7-year U.S. Navy veteran, and proud PVAMU alum, class of 2001. Ceasar works in many capacities as a certified emotional leadership facilitator, mindfulness meditation expert, and movement for healing specialist. He's on the Everyman platform doing men's peer-to-peer support group facilitation, and he's one of the founding facilitators for BIPOC-specific men's group support. He is also closely connected to the Veterans Yoga Project as a national ambassador and primary teacher with experience supporting the recovery and resilience of veterans in their communities, many of which experience post-traumatic stress, trauma-related challenges, and other mental health struggles. Ceasar still copes and actively manages his own anxieties, depression, and post-traumatic stress injuries, which have plagued him his entire life. Through this experience, he found his calling as an educator and supporter of mental health awareness causes. As a trauma-informed and healing-centered certified yoga instructor, meditation teacher, and breathing techniques instructor, he specializes in mindful resiliency for trauma recovery and compassion fatigue, breathwork for rehabilitative self-introspection, and has taught worldwide. He has served as a guest panelist, keynote speaker, and teacher at Rutgers and Fordham Universities, University of Michigan, Manhattan College, Point Park University, Columbia University, the Prairie View A&M University, and for numerous corporations and private entities. Ceasar is also the creator and founder of The Journey with Ceasar, an affordable subscription-based meditation library and coaching and consulting service center. He is also an award-winning singer, dancer, actor, fight and dance choreographer, Broadway regional and off-Broadway musical theater talent, and voiceover artist with an impressive career that has spanned the last 35-plus years internationally. Ceasar Barajas, thank you for being here.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
Yeah. I like to start every conversation with just a quick check-in, one word for how you're feeling right now.
Ooh, right now feeling connected.
Nice. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And your one word?
Ooh, you're the first person who's asked me in return.
Wait. Oh, we'll touch upon this as well. Because I got a soapbox about people not acknowledging people and then letting the favor be returned. So we'll chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, so one word. I'm feeling a little anxious today. Yeah.
May I offer you something?
Yes, please.
If that thought is complete, may I?
Yeah.
A little anxious. My friend, that's a modifier. So this is part of the work that I do with the men's groups. My friend, you're anxious. There's no little, there's no lot.
Yeah.
And here's why. The emotions that exist are neither good nor bad, little or big. They're all just there. The only thing that they serve a purpose for is giving us a chance to have either a constructive or a destructive reaction to them. And so prior to us getting on, we were offline and I was running late and I'm like, oh my God, I don't have Julia's cell. I don't have time to look in the emails. And I start panicking and I immediately felt my pit start to sweat, the dryness in my throat, my heart starting to beat faster. And I said, just breathe. The meditation podcast is called The Messy Meditator. We're in a mess right now. Like that's an alignment. That's cosmically given, but that's only recognizable if you give yourself a chance to practice. So then I this beautiful way to come on board with the one word check-ins. And that's how we start every single peer-to-peer group support meeting. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What are 3 things you're feeling physically? 3 things you're feeling emotionally. And then in that moment, what do you need? So then I say, well, what's your one word check-in? And you had never been asked. Tell me about that. Tell me if that feels like anything to you. Or
Not really.
what
I
do you
mean, I've
feel
been
when you hear
asked
it?
in other contexts, but not in the podcast context. I don't have feelings around it
Okay.
necessarily. Yeah, because I just, I understand that when someone shows up, they feel like they're sort of in the spotlight a little bit, and I could imagine if the shoe is on the other foot, just not even thinking, of
Okay.
like, okay, you're asking me questions. This is the question, next question, or whatever,
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, I have no feelings around it really.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
at least thus far. I don't know. Maybe I'll have
no,
feelings at some point.
exactly. Are you open to a reflection to that?
Sure.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Just really a beautiful reminder also that where there's the low and the end, or the low and the high, like right there in the middle is the no feelings at all. And that's also okay. I'm
Yeah.
not validating your answer, please. I'm not trying to mansplain nothing, because, fuck the patriarchy, like legit. This future has to be female, and we can talk about that if you want to. But so thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. I try to rest in the middle because that's a really safe, grounded place.
Yeah.
But, we're all human and we
Mm,
get pulled off center all the time by all kinds of things. So,
love it.
but yeah. Okay. So the journey with Caesar. I
Yes.
want to hear about the journey,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
kind of a big question. So, whatever you feel like sharing your journey. So, actually, I'll start with meditation and mindfulness. You do a lot of things. You have an amazing bio.
Thank you.
So where, how did mindfulness and meditation show up in your life? How long have you been practicing? How did it come into your life? And
Uh,
anything else you have to say?
I love. Actually, I've never responded to that question, which I've been asked on a few occasions in this way, but it just came to me. I didn't fall into it. It
Hmm.
it was given to me. And so I say that only because I'm realizing, well, when did I start? Like, I'm backtracking in my brain. What was my first meditation class? I have no idea.
Mm.
I just know that I found yoga to rehab a dance injury. So I have a 35-year performing arts career. I started as a costume character, Bugs Bunny, in a Six Flags park when I was 15. And I could pick up choreography, and I was doing shows. And so I've been actively moving. So my body has always breathed. So as an athlete, as a performer. And so I say that only because people say all the time, I don't have time to meditate. And I'm like, well, how long have you been breathing?
Yeah.
Well, you've been then unknowingly, maybe, a lifelong meditator.
Yeah.
So long as you're breathing, and every once in a while you're like, that sigh of frustration sitting in traffic, that's a choice. We
Mm-hmm.
choose to do that. And if you mentally, cognitively don't think you do, just listen to your body. It's not you. The brain isn't driving this meat suit. The heart center is. And so I share that to say, through a series of incredible events in my life on the higher vibrating plane, successes, I've shared stages with Oscar winners, Tony winners, Grammy winners. I've become this renowned expert, blah, 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 blah. Those are all things that get on the resume and they don't mean anything. But like on the lower end, all these higher vibrating good things are happening. So Caesar, you have no reason to be anxious or depressed or to have post-traumatic stress injuries. But on that end, what people don't realize is that I got raped at 15. I'm so sorry. Here's
Mm.
a disclaimer. I'm going to talk about sexual abuse. I hope that's okay, Julia.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I usually acknowledge that. So I lost my virginity to a 19-year-old female camp counselor. So here's a man,
Mm.
like cisgender, hetero identifying, like growing up as a first generation Mexican to Mexican immigrant parents, where in the household in Mexico, no, es el patrón, es el machismo, he's el mero mero. Like that's the boss. That's
Mm-hmm.
what man is supposed to be. And that's the top dog. So the man is king. And we see where letting kings rule have gotten us, which is why I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, this future has to be female. Like, if we learned as men to tap into the divine empress goddess fucking warrior energy that women have, this, and this is what colonization destroyed when they came to the Americas. That matriarchally led, honoring the earth, honoring the spirit, all that shit got destroyed by the white man. And not just white man. We're talking about those that lead genocides and wars. Look at what's happening right now, currently, in multiple places. So, with that said, can we be in a position to learn? So, as this kid who had all this stuff happening, I had all of this happening. I got locked up for the first time when I was 15. I've been shot at twice. I was in jail in the middle of the pandemic because I still didn't have a grasp. But y'all who invited me on y'all shows, this is the point. You have no idea. And this isn't directed at you, listeners. This is just food for thought. That's it. Can you be in a position to just listen for a moment in order to listen? And I started listening because I had people like Dr. Dan Libby, who founded the Veterans Yoga Project, Rebecca Jane Smith, Brianna Drenner. These are all of my teachers from the Veterans Yoga Project who said, hey, you've been doing yoga for 20 years, but have you ever connected the breath to the movement? And that was 2015. So for 10 years, to answer your original question, I've been teaching meditation. And I say the air quotes. If you're not watching, I'm using air quotes heavily right now. I say teaching because I'm not teaching. I am merely sharing. I am simply the guide. And so everything that I had so much aggressive anger swirling in my heart center that I wanted to go back and try to fix, it wasn't until I met Mike Sagoon, Andrew Kippen, the Everyman Men's Peer-to-Peer Group Support Group. It wasn't until my ex-girlfriend, and this goes back to the original question, where did the journey come from? You see what's tattooed on the inside of my arm? If you can't see it, listeners, it says, trust the journey, semicolon. And the semicolon is a significant marker in suicide awareness. Just, story doesn't end. Semicolon is it just, you got to pause for a second and then figure out which way you're going to go. So this was said to me by an ex-girlfriend in an argument on I-10 in Los Angeles when I was still living there. And she was like, you know what your fucking problem is, Caesar? Is you don't know how to trust the journey. And I don't know what it was. That was 2010, 2011. And it just stuck with me. I'm not trusting this journey. But what does that mean? Because there aren't enough books to try to teach. You've got 68 different versions of what meditation is supposed to be. And yet in the thousands of years old practice, all the Buddha ever said was just be. But who teaches us that? I'm going to pause here because I'd love to learn, Julia, like at any point, who taught you? Like, because I'm fascinated by other guides and speakers and people who were involved in the expansion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I was introduced to meditation through a therapist. I was in and out of depression. I was at like the worst depression of my life. I was going through a really traumatizing breakup. It was just total rock bottom. Started going to therapy for the first time. Amazing therapist who just popped into my dream the night before last too. And he had recommended a book called The Mindful Way Through Depression. And I don't even know if I had heard the word mindfulness before. I probably did, but I didn't really know what it was.
And you said The Mindful Way Through Depression was the book?
Yes, The Mindful Way Through Depression. And it used the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, or technically I think it was mindfulness-based cognitive therapy program. So it's an 8-week program. And use that to help the subtitle of the book is, I think it's Breaking Free from not chronic worrying. I can't remember, something like that, chronic. And the subtitle was what resonated. And so anyway, I saw that book as kind of my only and last hope, because I just didn't know how I was ever going to get out of that. And so I dove in and I did this program, which I still am blown away that I did it by myself, because it's designed to be a group program with like a teacher guiding you. It's like it's a very intensive program. So it's like, you kind of need a guide. And I just dove in like my life depended on it because it
You
kind of
like, oh,
did.
you know that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And so I just did this program and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, yeah, pretty much. And it completely turned my life around. Oh, and what I was going to say earlier was that I I didn't know that there was like a way to meditate before. Like I just
Mhm.
all I like I would do what I thought was meditating when I was younger and I would just sit with my eyes closed and I didn't know you were supposed to like, huh?
That's what you thought was meditation?
Yeah, I didn't know that there was like something that you were supposed to do, even though you're not doing anything. But yeah, so I would just sit and like kind of watch my mind, which in some ways that is kind of meditative. But I'm a very visual person, so I would get like visuals and I would see like hearts and birds and dolphins and
That's beautiful.
yeah, and so I and huh?
Those are all magical creatures.
Definitely, yes. So, yeah, so that was my understanding of meditation. Then when I learned about mindfulness, and that just turned my whole life around. It changed everything about who I am, how I operate, how I see the world, how I experience the world,
Yeah.
how I am in relationships, how I communicate. It made me a better driver. It just like everything. Like it's like I cannot fathom who or how I would be had I not ever learned to meditate.
Let-
Like I just can't comprehend.
Oh my gosh. Can we take a moment to pause?
Yeah.
It's an excellent exercise to offer our listeners. So what Julia just did is just recount, the last, what, couple years, 10 years?
15,
So here's 15. So all she
16.
did was just, in her own words, recount the last 15 years. And as she was doing that, if you can't see her, her face was beaming. These high vibrating energies, because it takes way less muscles to smile than it does to frown. So here you are going into this natural state. You've got this redness, this beautiful blush to your skin right now, and you're so lovely. And so all of that is happening because she's recounting what made her feel good. And all she did was train herself to listen to that. That's it. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. That's where the meditation comes in. I love that you said you gave yourself a chance to think that it was just eyes closed. And what you didn't realize is that your subconscious and unconscious were like, yeah, let's get her started now. And that's something that's another conversation, like what's coming
Yeah.
from source or creator.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes the physical earth, because we know that if you stepped outside barefoot in the grass, you would actually be electrically recharged. So I'm not talking woo-woo shit, yo. This ain't some magic shit. I'm not making nothing up, son. This is true. And so as that's happening, can we be in a position like you just did, Julia, to recount and think, wow. And I hear you say that, and it feels like you're proud, like you feel
Mm-hmm.
joy. Okay? And those are
Yes.
things that I can see. And that's what we as humans do. We see someone's face and we think because they're crying, they're automatically sad. Why do you think that? That's a
Mm.
societal, because that's a societal creation pushed behind what's the stigma behind mental health and the issues. Oh my God, it's not an issue. You're not having an issue. You're having an experience. There's nothing wrong with you to have your
Yes.
panic or to have to go into the state of hyperventilation. And so what we don't do is teach from early on in any of Western societies, save maybe Southeast Asia, is if you just pause, or among the Buddhist communities, if you just pause, take a deep breath, you're already starting the rest and digest system. But who teaches us that? In a society that preaches everything's at your fingertips. We're talking about societal, governmental, educational stigmas placed against Black and brown people, against women. There's no, how the fuck am
Mm-hmm.
I going to be in Texas and that woman, or in Georgia, doesn't have the right to her own? So a lot
Yes.
of
Yeah.
those are all activations. Where did I just put my face right now? I feel highly activated. So that puts me in a state of hypervigilance. How do I come back down? But that training didn't come easy. But the journey with Caesar started because I failed yet again in a relationship.
Mm.
That made me angry. And angry is not a form of, it's not a negative emotion. That's the body saying, hey, we have to protect ourselves. So where does
Mm-hmm.
rage come from? It comes from protection. Why do people lash out? They're It's like walking into a spider web. You just get it all away from me. We're
Mm-hmm.
hardwired to seek pleasure, not pain. So where in humanity in the last 7,000 years of existence were we ever taught to stop, pause, reflect, observe, take a deep breath? And that's the actual definition of mindfulness. But what exacerbated, what drew everyone to the bandwagon of mindfulness meditation? The pandemic. So here the
Mm.
world shuts down. And now what do we do? And well, maybe now I have time to meditate. That was such bullshit. However, it was a much needed wake up call. So now we've got, instead of 100 fans of meditation who don't think it's woo woo magic, we've got, like 500. So it just means more people picked up on what we're doing here. I wasn't there 5 years ago. As I stated
Mm.
earlier, in the fall of 2020, I was sitting in a jail cell. And I don't say that proudly.
Mm.
Every time I say that, I
Yeah.
share it. It's to let someone know, look, it's possible to be deep down dark. Like
Mm-hmm.
but you're standing bloodied yet unbowed. So give
Mm-hmm.
yourself a chance to stand there and take those lumps, because they will teach you. Pain teaches. But we don't let ourselves get there. We don't let ourselves feel grief, sorrow, like Hulk rage. We don't let
Yeah.
ourselves feel this.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have no capacity to handle those discomforts. And what is meditation? Meditation doesn't remove those discomforts. All meditation does is strengthen your capacity for the discomforts.
Yes.
And if we
Yes.
fucking just accepted that, and so what I do is share it not just with the men, but with my people of color. I
Mm.
co-founded a BIPOC, one of the first of its kind within the Everyman organization. BIPOC, for those who don't know, Black, Indigenous, People of Color. So as long as you're male identifying, hi, and also happy Pride. This is
Mm.
a very proud
Yes.
ally. So to the LGBTQIA2S plus communities, we love you. You're not alone.
Yes.
But with that being said, we're in a state of existence where we get to do and choose now, but there's so little of us that know why and the how behind it. And so
Yeah.
it's something that you and I are doing. Like, it's the messy meditator. It's supposed to be messy. I
Yeah.
love the title of your podcast.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I'll pause there. I
Oh
could talk
gosh.
literally for hours about this stuff.
Yeah. So, okay, I want to back up a little bit to something that you said earlier. You were talking about the way that you were describing women. I forget the exact words, magical warrior, something like
Divine
that.
Empress, warrior,
Yes.
goddess, energy, sure.
So
That's
I
what that came about. I looked at my wife one day and I was like, you are just a divine empress, goddess, priestess, warrior, queen. And so I call my wife that all the time.
I love it. I love it. So, well, I was going to ask, I mean, you just kind of somewhat answered the question, but not totally. Does your outlook have to do, I saw on your website that you delivered babies in the army,
Oh,
which
shit.
that was another thing I was like, "Oh my god," like everything that I read, I was like, "Wow, wow, wow, wow."
I'm also a
So,
7-year Navy veteran, yes.
yes. So, did you already feel that way before you had the experience of delivering babies, or is that part of what
Thank you.
led you to that perspective?
That is such a beautiful and reflective question, that it's moving me. Like,
Mm.
um, and I'll share why. So here I am at 18, 19 years old, and I'm a senior corpsman was in charge of over 250 natural and operative deliveries. So here I was, this very young man, and at that point, I had already been a sexual assault victim, and so I grew up in a rougher household. So it was right about 15 or 16 that my mom finally stopped hitting me. Like, I was
Mm.
just physically too big to just manhandle anymore.
Mm.
And that's also typical within a Mexican household. Why do you think
Mm.
it's a running joke, for chanclas? Are you familiar with the chancla? So
No.
for our non-Spanish speaking listeners, welcome. Hi. The chancla is a very stereotypical image of power and dominance. Your
Mm.
mother in a Mexican household would just remove her sandal and beat you with it.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's, I mean, you can go on, just Google like funny chancla videos, CHANCLA,
Uh-huh.
funny Mexican mom sandal videos. It's a running joke. But at that point, I've been a victim already of two major capital T traumas:
Mhm.
physical abuse, mental manipulation, empathic distress, probably compassion fatigue because I don't know how to handle stress as a 7-year-old. My mom jokes, "I love you," and mom and I we're good. That my mom is my best friend. Every day I call her, and she's like, "What's up, buddy?" And I'm like, "What's good, homie?" So like we're friends. But it took 10 years of like my work to get there. And so within that world, we're in a position to share with the men that in order to uplift humanity, we have to take care of the only creature on this planet that can take the idea of something, manifest it, create it inside their belly, and then give it to the world. Are you kidding me? And we treat them like shit? But not enough men recognize that because they're not in their healthy masculine. I feel very healthy in my masculinity. I love wearing dresses. I love painting my nails. I just finished a show. So that's why I'm clean cut and clean looking. But like I express myself through my tattoos, my art. My wife doesn't blink an eye. She's like, "Oh, that's cute. We'll share like a little skirt. We both wear size 6 to 8 in Lululemon." Like it's that healthy masculine, powerful,
Yes,
yet
yes.
soft. And I own that. And that's again, that's not bragging. It's just it take well, how many men do we know realize that in order for them to also balance it with the healthy feminine?
Yeah,
And so we can go a number of different ways with where this takes us, but ultimately I as a young man respected women and also disrespected them at the same time. Because at the same I'm witnessing this magic, like literal magic.
mhm.
Oh, this is some sorcery shit. And at the same time, I'm being told if you don't run through as many women as you can, if you don't get 16 numbers by the end of the night, like that's the mentality. Teach the young man to run after the women. God forbid he be gay. Like I feel so bad for
Mm,
those that have now come out and they were like, "Caesar, you were really like my only friend," because they couldn't tell anybody. I didn't come
mm.
out in the military at that point.
Yeah,
So there's a lot to say about us as men uplifting women, and then ultimately how many men then are exposed to this kind of work. So again, my two
yeah,
mentors, Mike Sagoon, Andrew Kippen, Owen, um, they created and were a part of the forming of the Everyman Men's Group Support. And that's Everyman, EVRYMAN.com if you want some info on it. Or ladies in your life if you want to share it with like your brothers, your husbands. Um, no one at that point. So here I had been teaching yoga and meditation officially for 10 plus years. I've been practicing yoga for 20 plus years. And it wasn't until 2020, like 2020, the pandemic shut all of my worlds down. And I was in quarantine here in New York City with my ex partner. And I had a nervous breakdown. And
mm,
it led to a series of very unfortunate events for which to this day I carry deep regret, shame, embarrassment daily. And so that's a good point to say that like as that exists in my heart, the grief, the sorrow, I'm also elated and conscious and tender, and all of it exists in the same space. So I learned
yeah,
how to give myself a chance to do that. But 2020 led to this complete downfall, which then led to a warrant for my arrest. And I turned myself in, and I did everything I needed. I paid all the fines. I'm done. I'm done. Everything I've done has been expunged, and officially and in my heart. Like that, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
mhm.
Through the pain, I will learn. Pain will teach you because it puts you in a position not of high stress, but of hyper awareness. Pain will cause you to finally focus. Why do you think when you stub your toe, your eyes get wide? Your body's nervous system is like, all right, there's pain. You need to be able to see what is attacking you. Your body will take care of itself. But who the fuck teaches us that?
Mhm.
Seriously. not in a Mexican household in America, raised in the Southwest between Texas, California, and Arizona, in 9 different schools. By the time he was in 8th grade, his best friend was his little brother, who's his best friend to this day, and that's it. You don't have a community. You don't have a chance to connect with like-minded peers, kids your own age. Why do you think there's so much? I'm going to pause because I was about to say something. I was about to disrespect the students in America as being uneducated. And I'm realizing, as I thought that, it's not their fault. They only know what they know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm legit, like, because I'm as left-wing liberal as they come. Come on now. And
Mm-hmm.
I hated MAGA and what's happening in our current administration. I speak openly,
Yeah.
actively against it as an activist and an advocate.
Yeah.
And I think they don't know. How can I be mad at them? And trust me, I am. Like, it doesn't stop. It's not. You can still be pissed off at somebody and yet let them go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that I condone anything that is hate-filled. That rhetoric needs to go. Son, just let whoever is next to you love who they love. Let a woman decide she wants to go and get fucking health care. Come on, can we lower health insurances so that people can actually just learn to take care of their bodies so they're not reliant on pill after pill after pill, which is a monopolization of the pharmaceutical companies in corporate America. But again, I'm the conspiracy theorist. It's happening right in front of us.
Yeah, I was going to say those. I've been surrounded by conspiracy theorists. That's not conspiracy. That's reality.
And then that's the reality. But we don't see it. We're so tunnel visioned. And it wasn't until I got locked up for the 3rd time that I got out and said, I need to heal. And so through Everyman, I learned about checking in physically. Why does my jaw click? Oh, well, you've been grinding. So, learning to read your body, then just being able to name the emotions. I have a wonderful sheet of paper here. It's my go-to. So, how many feelings associated with met needs? So you see a whole bunch right there, right? So this is the shout out to the Center for Nonviolent Communication. It's an organization started by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg in the early 80s. And he just wanted to study. He was like, what is it that people really need? And so through his psychology work, he started to tap into, well, people need to be heard. This is in reference to the top of the show when I was like, no one asked you in return? Asking someone for permission. That's why I ask, may I repeat back? May I offer something? Like, people want to be permissively bothered.
Yeah.
Don't encroach in my space, son. Women right now can't run by themselves because they're afraid. So just, can I approach you? And that can either be done physically through body language, like hi, like hands in the air, like no weapons. I'm giving you my heart. And to actually asking, hey, may I sit here? May I take that chair? Is this seat being used? Pardon my interruption. Really, but I have a question for you. May I ask it? Like asking permissively to do things is just a form of community building.
Yes.
God knows we need support right now.
Yes.
We need, not in the form of like friends or partnerships or lovers, but like your needs include daily interaction with people, not just the people in your circle, which means the next time you're in line to buy a coffee, ask the barista, or tell the barista, I hope the morning's going well for you. How you holding up?
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah. God, sometimes those interactions with baristas or grocery checkout clerks, it can just shift my whole day and nothing special about it. It's just still like a pleasant exchange. And then I leave and I'm like, that was so nice. It's like, I feel like I can do a little skip out just to have like a pleasant interaction with another human.
Are you a fan of Jefferson Fisher?
I've never heard of Jefferson Fisher.
Here's some stuff for listeners. Do you know who Mel Robbins is?
Yes.
So Mel Robbins had Jefferson Fisher on her podcast. My wife and I were avid listeners, huge fans. And Jefferson Fisher is a lawyer in the South. He's from Texas, I think, originally. And he just created a series of videos. So we're also in that state of the country where everything you need is right here. So if you need something, it's right there, which can be the blessing and the curse at the same time. So
Yes.
we're the
Yes.
devils and the angels all together now.
Yep.
So Jefferson Fisher amassed this huge following and has written an excellent book um, where he says there's always room for kindness.
Hmm.
I love it. So I live by that. So my wife and I daily live by Mel's let them theory, which if
Uh-huh.
you don't know what that is, friends, Google let them theory. It'll
Yeah.
change your life, like literally. Um, to Jefferson Fisher's mantra. It's a mantra. It's an affirmation. Yeah. Would you agree? It's a mantra. Yeah. There's always
Yeah. What was it again? There's always room for kindness. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah.
Mantra and an affirmation both. Yeah.
You know, and within the spiritual communities or the therapeutic and healing communities, people will often prescribe mantras. I do when I work one-on-one with people. Like, can you create an affirmation that you say daily? Because that will then literally, that's neuroplasticity. That will, you telling yourself something, talking about it, literally talking something into existence will physiologically rewire your brain. But
Mm-hmm.
like, who teaches us that? I go back to the kids in America are not dumb. They're just
Mm-hmm.
being politically ignored.
So, do you know much about Joseph Campbell?
I love Joseph Campbell.
Okay, so he talks about, it's been a while since I've read The Power of Myth, but I loved just some of the concepts stuck with, like, first of all, ritual and how important that is, and community, and like how that it was so easy to recruit
Mm-hmm.
people into gangs because they have rituals, they had like male role models where they might not have, were welcomed into community. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening with the MAGA, is like there's a lot of lost boys out there that don't have healthy male influences and models, and so they turn to the Joe Rogans, and they have all these other initiations or rituals, or, their red hats or whatever, to make them feel like they're a part of something. But a lot of those Joe Rogan bros are kind of like the let's hear both sides, but then they swing right. And if they had had like a healthier male influence, they might have swung left.
Yes, 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 yes. Again, not doing anything other than agreeing with you. A lot of it stems from black, white, brown, polka dotted, orange men. It doesn't matter what color. It just, and that's a nice segue into what generational trauma is, family constellations. Um, just understanding that when you are born, and this is scientifically proven, friends, like when you are born, you are already carrying genetic pieces of pain, oppression, traumas met by your mother, your father, anyone had any
Mm-hmm.
involvement in your birth. So that being
It's in
said,
your DNA now. Yeah.
in your DNA, that's not
Mm-hmm.
your fault. And so men for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and we're talking again a particular evolution in history, because the indigenous people, and this is an awesome opportunity, I failed to do it at the top of the hour, to just acknowledge the land of the Lenape. I'm here in Manhattan.
Mm.
Within the indigenous communities, again, the matriarch was the center point. Do you know the story about the writing of the U.S. Constitution and who advised Benjamin Franklin, one of the authors,
I don't think so.
involving the Iroquois indigenous?
Uh, I don't think so.
Well, may I share it?
Yeah, of
Ooh,
course.
sit down, buckle in for this, because this is absolute truth. And this is, again, a segue into histories are being rewritten and erased, and is just
Mm-hmm.
not fair. Anyway,
Yeah.
U.S. American Revolution's happening. A group of white men decide they're going to come together to create the rules of the new land. So that's problem number one. So Benjamin Franklin, being more of a liberal, decided to ask the local Iroquois indigenous tribe in the area, the Iroquois chiefs, how do you run things? What's your government? Where do you think we get the system of U.S. government, states, cities? That came directly from the Iroquois indigenous tribes. They
Oh,
created
wow.
a nation with states underneath. So here's the
Mm.
tribe, and then they all counsel, but each state had individual control. Why do you think we have U.S. state governors?
Mm.
And then they report to so the hierarchy was created. That's an Iroquois indigenous tribe suggestion. Where in U.S. American history did we learn that?
Yeah.
To add even further, Benjamin Franklin is saying, okay, that's lovely. That's an idea we'll put into, one nation under God, with each individual creating and getting liberty and justice. That's a fucking joke here in this country. So all that being said, he says, well, we have chieftains, but nothing is done without the council of the women. Nothing. Like the elder women, especially, like the elder chiefs. So there's also then, where in this country do we respect people who get old? No, we cast them aside. So that's all of that's coming from this direct incident, this direct founding. So American, it's not your fault. This shit has been bred into us, and everyone that came to this country, all the high immigrants get the job done. It's built on the back of immigrants, but now you want to forcibly and systemically remove them? Yeah. Okay. So again, woosah, breathing. All this stuff activates me in a way that I can't describe. But if I give myself a chance to teach the history, then hopefully one more person will teach someone else. So to finish the story, they start to create the founding fathers. Benjamin Franklin invited 2 of the Iroquois chiefs to come and counsel and meet everybody. The first thing that the chiefs said when they walked in were, "Where are the women?" So from this country's founding, it was built on white, patriarchally dominated, male identifying, and not even male identifying, like born male, because God forbid that, someone is trans. Support trans lives. They fucking matter. 2 spirits in those individuals, that's nothing but the balance of the healthy feminine and masculine. That's all it is. Every single one of you has both the male and the female in you. I'm not talking gender. I'm talking the essence of humanity and spirit in this one life that we have, this very short life we have. Yeah. So all that to say, come back to a place where we then get to share with others what is needed, and that is the U.S. country of the United States of America. We're founded on the principles of division, segregation. Yeah. Because then, God forbid, you be rich and you have nothing, because white on white crime exists, black on black crime exists, brown on brown crime exists. Why? Because people have unmet needs. Yes. They will rob their own brother, their fellow king, because they need. But if their needs aren't being met, it's going to drive them to do things like this. So why in the current state of this country can people not afford rent? Basic groceries. Yeah. You as this side of this country's administration wants to keep writing bills to diminish that and then take away insurance. So then from the country's founding, it was rich versus poor. So again, so many factors go into that. And here we are being raised. And I just turned 50 years old this past weekend.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you very much. At 50, I'm like, oh, this is what life is supposed to feel like and how it's possible. And so I teach it now. And now I've got 25-year-old fellow kings of mine. They have the rest of their life in this expand. That's all I want. Go live your life, receive everything bountiful, receive all the blessings. May you be given ease of tensions, clarity in decision makings. May you have an opportunity to be curious about what you feel and then receive the best case scenario, the best possible solution to do what it is that you need to do, because every choice is a gift. Whether you think it's for you or against you, that's systemic condition. You think that it has to be fruits of my labor. The weekend is when I party. No, you can party whenever you want. But we're led to believe if you're not 9 to 5ing it to eventually get married and have 2.3 kids, oh my God, forbid a man wants to marry a man or a woman wants to marry a woman. But like all of that's not the American dream. It shouldn't be the American dream to think that you have to work literally for the 30 to 40 years, 50 years that you have to in order for then you be able to get to rest and relax and enjoy the color of the trees, the
Yes.
my wife is an avid birder. I did not realize birding is so amazing. Now I know why there's millions of people who do this. So we go like I'm observing these birds, and I'm like, who am I? And so, but we can have that. We can be in that place to just enjoy what we want to do. What do you want to do? I often ask my clients, and when I guest speak, I ask people, "What do you want?" Well, I want to be an astronaut. Okay, so if you think maybe that's too unattainable, that's okay. But what can you do to be involved in astronaut or NASA or space or studying? My wife grew up an avid fan of like the ocean. She is a mermaid. She became then a lead diver at NASA to teach astronauts how to walk in their suits. She got a
Wow.
marine biology degree. Her
Wow.
first job out of college was helping to clean up like the BP oil spill. Hi, BP, oil and gas companies. Hi, again, monopolization, corporate America. So she's cleaning up their mess, trying to save the earth. And so when I call her my goddess, empress, priestess, warrior, queen, I mean it. She's a badass.
Yeah.
And how many badasses are we ignoring? Because men
Yeah.
gotta be men. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey. But here's the catch, Julia. I was one of those men. I acted misogynistically. I objectified women. And I'm sorry. So I apologize. And I say all the time, if you are female identifying, just please know we're working on the men. We're working on those who are male identifying and in that state of brainwashed existence. Because I was brainwashed. It's not an excuse. I go back now and I own everything I did. And honestly, again, to go to an earlier point, if any of that had not happened, we wouldn't be here. Okay,
Exactly.
to understand that my past is a part of my definition, but it doesn't define me. Because
Yeah.
I've done so many deeply regretful things. And again, that pain still sits. It's just not as expanded as it was because once it expanded, that's what caused a lot of my anxiety and depression. And so I manage and self regulate my anxiety and depression now. I'm no longer on any kind of medication. I'm not, I mean, I take my regular supplements, my vitamins, and other than that, like I said, I just turned 50. I feel great. I still have mobility. So, how do I want to live the next 30 years is where my brain has been. But how many people do we have, celebrate a birthday and immediately have to go right back to the grind or right back to work?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just not given a chance to enjoy and celebrate. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll pause there. There's a lot. This is wonderful. Thank you, Julia, for hosting and for being here in this capacity.
Oh my God, of course. Yeah. So with everything that you just said, my thought was that is the journey. I mean, that's the journey of transformation. None of us are born, we're not like born. Even the Dalai Lama wasn't necessarily born. He was taught a lot and trained. I mean, I've done regrettable things. I have a lot of shame over things in my past. And I think that's what leads us to our transformation and to the path where we can help others transform. We have to experience it ourselves. And so yeah, that is the journey. That's how we do it, is we go from that place to where we are now. And then there will be more transformation. I'm still coming out of a deep low and transforming my life from the past 5 years. It's been a rough 5 years. So yeah, I mean, that's the journey.
Oh,
The journey with Ceasar.
so beautifully stated. And thank you for seeing me. Thank you for
Yeah.
receiving my story and then just so eloquently giving it back to me. And in the therapeutic community, that's called mirroring. All
Mm-hmm.
Julie is doing right now is affirming my existence as a human.
And I want to add to that if I
Yeah, please
can.
do.
Uh, and I try to acknowledge this to men who are doing this work, that we as women feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Like when or I mean, maybe I'll just speak for myself, but like I feel it. Like when men are doing that work, I feel it. I feel so much safer around men like that. And it might not always be conscious, but it's just like, oh yeah, that's why, because they've actually done this work.
Oh.
They're actually paying attention to when they're falling into the conditioning and actively taking steps to reverse it or, to not do it. Yeah, I'm fortunate to know quite a few men who are doing this work, and I feel so much safer around those kinds of men. And I feel like I, yeah, I just feel safer. And I feel like there's less, I don't know, yeah, just safer. Like I don't have to worry about them. I don't have to worry about what they might try to do or what they might try to try or what they might misinterpret from me or whatever. It's like they ask permission, they communicate, they self-reflect,
Yeah.
they take accountability. So yeah, and just thank you for doing that work, because it doesn't make a difference. I feel it. I'm sure other women feel it even if they don't realize it. And yeah, that's how we make change.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I coach and teach for an audio fitness app called Active, and so it's voice recordings. So my studio here in New York, um, and I record these guides and these classes. I don't know who's listening, so we just never
Mm.
know how something is going to be received or rejected. We just don't know. And so you sharing that is affirming, oh, I'm doing, yay. All right, I'm doing good. Keep doing this.
Yeah.
Keep doing this. Because
Yeah.
it creates like higher vibrating welcomed feelings. I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. If it activates a joy, do it. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah.
Because that's what that means. And
Yeah.
we're going to backtrack to like in that place of existence, I had to learn to get there. And so when we were talking earlier about where I was, once I left New York City when it was still the epicenter of COVID, I knew that I needed to get away and I didn't want to be around people. So the pandemic created these incredible anxieties. And so I moved to Mexico and spent some time
Oh,
daily in
wow.
the ocean running. So I wanted to reconnect to my roots. Um, and here I was in the middle of really like nowhere on the western coast of Mexico. And I ran into someone from Austin, Texas. I'm from Houston originally.
Okay.
So I'm running into another Texan in the middle of Mexico, and we're speaking in Spanish. Y ahí estamos hablando español. And he said something in English. I was like, oh, you speak English? I said, yo, so do I. So he and I were like, oh, where are you from? I'm from Texas. I'm from Austin. I grew up in Houston. And he was leading a men's retreat the next week. So to
Oh,
me, that
wow.
wasn't like divinely placed for me.
Yeah.
So I took part in
Yeah.
his retreat. I took part in an ancient indigenous healing ceremony called La Tamezcal, which is basically a sweat lodge.
Mm.
I had a Temazcal ceremony. I took part in my first ever like sound bath. I didn't know, like here I am, this yoga teacher, this expert, and I had no idea what sound baths were. And learning
Mm.
about sound baths in Mexico at that time then ended up coming into play because I would take my father during his cancer treatments to sound bath ceremony
Mm.
healing. So everything was given to me. Meditation was given to me. It's a gift. So all these things are happening. So I leave Mexico, I move to Hawaii. I get to spend 3 months with one of my best friends, fellow Navy veteran, one of my fraternity brothers. He was stationed in Honolulu because here he is a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy. And so I'm in his high-rise apartment in Hawaii, Honolulu, running every day, swimming in the ocean, again, being recharged by Pachamama, by Mama Earth. Unknowingly. I had no idea. Now I know.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't know what that was. I just knew that my heart was leading me to do that. So then I left Hawaii after spending this time with my dear friend, and God rest his soul, Lieutenant Commander
Mm.
Cedric Gardner ended up taking his own life the next year.
Mm.
So I got to spend 3 months and tell my brother every day that I loved him
Mm.
before he
That's
got
so
called home.
special.
So like, I wish he'd reached out, because this is the one regret that I have. Men, if you would just listen, if you would just shut your mouth and just listen, you will receive so much. If you would just shut up and put ego aside. And my wife taught me that. My wife is like, ego sees is coming out. And I know that so then I have to stop. And I said, what do I need? And again, this isn't work. Like we don't have a perfect relationship by any means, but like she is this quiet natured, beautiful soul who kept who was told to keep quiet her whole life, finally is speaking up. Why can't I be the man that receives that and get rid of ego and at the same time expand the both of us? So, but like we don't give ourselves chances to do that. How many times do relationships fail because no one wanted to actively listen to what the other person needed? And that's ultimately what it all comes back to. As individuals, can you look in the mirror and say, what do you need in this moment? I need a sandwich. Then go fucking make a sandwich. I need to go to sleep. Then go to sleep. But like we don't give ourselves those moments because this society says your worthiness is dictated by your busyness. If you're not working,
someone's letting their needs speaking their needs behind you.
We're being told systemically to ignore your feelings. Again, this is not an unsolvable problem.
Yeah.
It's the end of higher learning. Lawrence Fishburne looks into the camera and just screams, wake up! Wake up! And not you. Because you seem to be awakened. But that's the thing. You will then recognize other people who understand what you mean by, oh my gosh, oh, I needed that breath. Yeah? Did you feel better? Good. Take another one. And that's part of community building. That's part of being human. That's part of being respectful. That's part of understanding that like what they're doing is their business. That's it. This world would be so much nicer if we just were able to give people this kind of knowledge. And that's what we're working on between the two of us.
Yeah.
And all of our compadres and our cohorts. We're all working towards that.
Yeah, if only emotional intelligence was taught in schools. Among other things. Okay, I'm looking at the time. I'm going to switch gears entirely and ask a very big question.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite type of chocolate chip cookie?
The now RIP City Cakes. So City Cakes was a company here off of 18th and 7th here in Manhattan. And they made half-pound cookies. And then half-pound chocolate chip cookie. But they closed because of the pandemic. So sad.
Oof.
So my top, then after that, the number 2 is the chocolate chip and walnut cookie at Levain Bakery here in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have crumble cookie out there?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on crumble? Or feelings? Or
I'm going to be completely honest, and again, this is just my opinion. They are awful.
Okay, so what do you like in a chocolate chip cookie? Because I really like their chocolate chip cookies.
You like Crumble's cookies? Great. That's beautiful.
Because I like thick, doughy things. So, yeah, and theirs are like thick and doughy. But what do you like in it? What constitutes, like, do you like crunchy? Do you like soft? Do you like
the soft, gooey, like underbaked
yes.
oven cookies that you get? What are they called?
Yeah.
Like some Duncan Hines cookies or something. Just give me the cookie dough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the softer, the gooier. I'm a huge fan of almonds and walnuts, pecans. So give me some nuts in there. Let the chocolate be not too sweet, like too overbearing.
Okay.
I don't like eating a super sweet icing on like a chocolate cake. It's just a little too much. So give me a nice balance of the dough, the nuts, more sweet chocolate. We're in business.
Okay.
And bonus is a la mode. Just give me some vegan vanilla ice cream. Some oat milk ice cream. Yes.
I do love a good chocolate chip cookie. Unfortunately, I have health stuff that has caused me to have a bunch of very depressing dietary restrictions. And I can't have like a lot of my favorite foods. I can't have wheat. I can't have cow dairy. I can't have, basically pizza, which is one of my favorite foods. So, yeah. So it's like living vicariously through you having this conversation. I'm like, talk to me about cookies.
Are there any options available to you that resemble them?
I'm still on my own journey with that of trying to figure out because I can have sheep's milk, I can have goat's milk. So I live in a place where it's just, we have such beautiful, amazing food here. So I'm so grateful, and I'm still discovering things and working with my body and seeing if there will ever be changes or if this is permanent. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing all.
Yeah. So we could talk for another 3 hours probably, but it's a good time to wrap things up. So I do like to end with one question, which is if you could leave the world with one message, what would it be?
If I could leave the world with one message, it would be extend your exhales.
Okay.
So the literal physical act of extending an exhale is inactivated to your body's parasympathetic nervous system. It starts your rest and digest. Every single inhale, every single time you breathe in, the thousands, millions of times in your life, every single inhale activates fight or flight. Why do you think they tell boxers to punch as they breathe?
Mm.
Every single inhale shortly taken gives you a chance to tighten up to get ready for whatever's going to attack you. It's the exhale that does what? Relaxes the body. That's why the inhale levitates you in final resting pose. The exhale brings you back to earth. So let the bring you back to earth. Extend the exhale and extend it several times in a row. Every single thing you feel will come to you within about 6 seconds. Now you choose to decide to be angry, but if you gave yourself 90 seconds of just breath, the anger dissipates naturally. We choose to stay with the anger because we're not taught to slow down, to say, it's just there. All right, I'm ready to let it go. But, so, yes, extend your exhale would be my message.
Nice. Ceasar, thank you so much. This is great. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Keep shining.